Alright guys, so I wanted to clear up some stuff today on the section we just learned, which was linear inequalities. So linear inequalities are actually pretty simple. We're going to go through a few examples. I'm going to switch some things around, and I'm going to show you how to properly do this. Now, primarily, you're not going to see linear equalities with 2 points, that is linear inequalities. Usually, you're going to see them in one of our primary formats. That is to say, y greater than 2x plus 3. Or sometimes, our go-to 3x plus 2y equals 4. So you will see them in this format, but again, it's not uncommon to see them in some other formats, but you're not going to see them that much. So you're not going to be like, hey, here's 2 points, find the linear inequality. In those cases, it would be kind of the same thing. Let me change this to a proper one. So not much difference. So let's take a look here. We'll take a look at this top one first, and then we'll do the bottom one. So we see here, this is just our standard y equals mx plus b format, but we changed the equal sign. We changed that equal sign to a greater than symbol. So this is one of the things we'll talk about. Let's first graph this line. We start at positive 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then we go up 2 over 1. So 1, 2, 1. Right there's our second point. And we can keep graphing these points. And I have a reason for doing it this way right now that we'll kind of talk about. This is not going to be a solid line. Which, kind of the nice thing is we get to correct it if we make a mistake with our straight edge. All right, so why isn't this a solid line? It's because this is not an equal to equation. This is not an equal to. Notice, this is just greater than. If it was greater than or equal to or inclusive, it would have a solid line. Because it's strict, it only has the dotted line. That means that this line is not actually included in our solution. But what does our solution actually look like? That's where the shading comes in. That's where we want to shade. We shade above the line on this one because, again, greater than. We shade above the line. This would be above the line. So a really quick, easy way to remember this, guys, above or below, is the alligator's mouth opening towards the Y or away from the Y? Or is the arrow pointing at the Y or away from the Y? With the alligator's mouth, if the alligator's mouth is opening towards the Y, you shade above. With the arrow idea, if the arrow is pointing away from Y, you shade above. They're both kind of the same thing, but it just kind of depends how you see these symbols. So this is the solution set. And let's talk about that for a moment. Why is this the solution set? Pretty simply, this is the solution set because this covers all possibilities, right? We want all solutions. Every possible solution. That is everything above the line. Y is greater than x, or 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3 above this line. That's what that means. That the value of y is greater than 2 times the value of x plus 3. Now, let's move down for a second. We'll erase this one. We'll erase our graph and we'll start over. So we take a look at this one. We actually have to convert this one. So First we do minus 3x, 2y equals negative 3x plus 4. And then we do, all right. See, even I make that mistake. Divide by 2, divide everything separately by 2. And this is our corrected equation. So again, we look at this. We're starting at positive 2. So 2 going down 3 over 2. Down 1, 2, 3. Right 1, 2. Down 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. We go backwards. Up 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Just like that. And this one, no huge surprise. This one is going to be a solid line. A solid line. Now let's take a look. This is less than or equal to. This is less than or equal to. Notice the inclusive line. That line is included in our solution. Our solution sets can come from any number on that line. But we're going to shade below the line. And again, below can seem like a subjective term. This is below the line in this case. This is below the line in this case. It takes a little bit of instinct and some doing to kind of get above and below the line, but it's not too bad. Now, one thing to watch for, guys. One thing to watch for, and I did this kind of intentionally so I could bring it up later. Let's take a look at this problem, but let's change one or two things. All right, so notice I changed the plus to a minus. I changed the plus to a minus. This is actually going to change a lot more than you think. So same kind of steps, minus 3, minus 3x, negative 2y, less than or equal to negative 3x plus 4 divided by negative 2 on all. So we know that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So the slope becomes positive, and the 4 becomes a negative 2 because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. But also notice that the sign flipped. Remember, when you divide or multiply by a negative, you need to flip that sign. You need to flip that sign for the inequality. And that actually does affect our equation, right? So we go down here to negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There's our line. And we're actually going to shade above. Now again, above is a subjective term here. And when I say subjective, I don't mean actually subjective. I mean, it kind of relies on your intuition of what above and below the line is. It's one of the things that'll take time to learn. But you shade above this line, and you're done. Now, there are other instances where you would actually shade multiple areas on intersecting lines. I'll get into that at a later date. Right now, we're at about the 10-minute mark, so I'm going to let you guys go. I hope this was informative. And remember, these videos will kind of act as your study guide for the upcoming test.